Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you Game 3 in the series between Huck and Naniwa. Game 3 taking place here on Shattered Temple. Huck spawning as the red Protoss here at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, across this little lake or little chasm with a whole bunch of dead Protoss buildings and Protoss units, we see Naniwa spawning as the blue Protoss. So Protoss versus Protoss here on Shattered Temple. Another mirror match to give you guys, and hopefully this game does not disappoint. Now, we'll see whether or not Naniwa will be able to come back after losing game 1. He has already evened up the series, but he is going up against Huck. Huck, one of the best players in the world. Naniwa, not too shabby either. High-level StarCraft 2, always so entertaining as the game gets underway. And really, StarCraft 2 is a game of seconds. Trying to get that small advantage, chrono boosting out, and right now it does appear that Huck does have a slight advantage, and we'll see whether or not that advantage translates into anything major. We'll see a probe now make his way out, and it looks like he will be scouting out his opponent. Meanwhile, Naniwa preferring to just reveal the fog of war on the inside of his base with this one scouting probe before he makes his way out as well. So that probe just doing a bit of scouting, and now what is going to be happening as it looks as though Huck is going to be scouting in the wrong direction. Meanwhile, Naniwa has just completely removed all the fog of war of inside his own base. As this game does continue, Huck now going to come inside here, quickly find where his opponent is not, and then by process of elimination knows that Naniwa is at the 1 o'clock position, and this will be close by air spawns. Now, this strategy and this opening and the locations may open themselves up into a little bit more Warp Prism play. Warp Prism recently got a really large buff to shields, an additional 60 shields, making them much more valuable, and we'll see whether or not Huck is going to be able to slip by on the inside of this base. Currently, Naniwa, I believe the probe is currently revealed ever so often, but that is so difficult to see, as Huck was perhaps able to slip into the backside of there. The Zealot. The Zealot is rallied over here, and this probe is going to try to perhaps hide behind a bush or a tree and hopefully not get spotted. Now, back over here, the Zealot, it looks like he was perhaps able to spot it, and the Zealot now making his way over, chrono boosting out that warp gate tech, and we now have an early Zealot making his way out as well. The Zealot will spot that probe and quickly take it down. Huck losing many valuable mining time and resources with that probe there, as I believe Naniwa does have a 1 probe advantage and perhaps a little bit more minerals and resources overall. Stalker will be joining this fight here as a cybernetics core about 1/3 of the way completed in terms of researching that all-important warp gate tech. You can see now Stalker of Huck making sure that there is nothing going on inside his own fog of war. Naniwa 27/34, Huck 26/26, as Huck is currently supply blocked. He is not going to be able to train any more units, a supply block for a little bit of time, but he is going to start warping in 2 additional gateways. 22 probes versus 22 probes, and it looks like both sides have stopped their probe production, and we may have an engagement sometime soon. Huck is going into a 3-gate with the robotics facility. Meanwhile, Naniwa going into a Twilight Council, and most of the time, robotics facility does beat Twilight Council. Immortals beat Stalkers, and then observers spot Dark Templar if it does go into that route. So 3 warp gates plus a plus a Twilight Council from Naniwa versus 3 warp gates plus a robotics facility and a Twilight Council. Wait, did he change it up? Did he cancel his? No, he did not cancel his robotics facility. Huck going down both tech paths, and that one observer better not get killed at all, as that is a very expensive unit. The only unit coming out from that robotics facility so far, but it looks like then Naniwa doing the same thing as well, getting a later robotics facility. And we'll see how all of that works as Blink is now being researched. Immortals are being trained by Huck, so Huck should be able to blast back with those Immortals and take down those Stalkers. But then again, Stalkers in number can blink and then surround and destroy an Immortal rather quickly as well. We'll see what happens as this game gets underway. Stalkers quickly make sure that there is nothing happening over here by this Zelnaga tower as the Observer decides to pull back. And both sides really haven't engaged yet. Proxy Pylon now warping here by the gold mineral patches. Very nice location. Also acts as a scout to know when these rocks do get taken down, as a probe quickly destroyed, I believe, by the Stalker here. The Immortal, I'm sure, lended a hand as well as this game does get underway. Stalkers, sentries, zealots, and now we are about to finish the Twilight Council, and we are getting an Observer. So no Warp Prism. It looks like Blink will be finished in just a moment. And how will all of this go down? Both players sitting on a fair amount of resources, but I believe Naniwa will warp in 3 additional Stalkers at just the right moment. Is he going to warp in additional Stalkers? I thought he was. No, it doesn't look like it, as there's just a Zealot and a Sentry over here, and it looks as though one Observer will scout out that Nexus that's currently warping in, as the Stalkers are now stuck on the high ground. So Huck, so it looks like Naniwa made a little bit of a mistake there. He wanted to blink up with all of his Stalkers. The Stalker's just going to walk straight inside the space, take down 1 probe, 2 probes have been taken down, getting in some easy damage. Now the Immortal joining in on the fight, and the Stalkers are going to perhaps do a little bit of blinking. Are they going to start doing some smart blinking? Yes, some smart blinking after dealing some damage first, as the Observer now scouts out Huck at his natural expansion. We'll see how all of this will go down. An Observer now flying across this gap once more. Stalkers and Immortals. Huck with a slightly smaller army. Naniwa with more minerals and a larger gas army as well. Perhaps the difference between just a couple Zealots and some Sentries, as more units are still warping in. Nothing being warped in down over here just quite yet. Zealot and Sentry may have warped in from that location, as we are now going to have an engagement. And where are those force fields? Force fields need to come in. There's the Guardian Shield, and now in comes the engagement after the force fields do go down. Naniwa trapping Huck, and now able to deal a lot of damage here. Is Naniwa going to perhaps push in a little bit too far? That is going to be the key question, as Naniwa able to hit Huck on the run and now able to blink away. And this is the benefit of a pure Stalker army against Stalker Immortal. The problem is that even though Huck does have blink on his Stalkers, if he blinks into a larger group of Stalkers, he will obviously lose, and the Immortal cannot get within combat range. So very beneficial here, as we are now going to have an engagement come into play. One Zealot may turn around. It takes a lot of damage. Stalkers are now trying to do that, peeling away, trying to do some smart blinking, and beautifully done, as Naniwa engaging ever so well. And even though Immortals counter Stalkers, the Immortals need to be within range. Stalkers now looking to push in and deal more damage here. The Zealots are now going to push in as well, as the Zealots are going to go battle it out. We do have a couple probes in the mineral line, and they are getting just picked apart, and that is going to be bad news, as Workers getting destroyed. Huck is in trouble. Worker kills 13, as we are now 22 to 35, and there you go. All the Stalkers peeling away once more and able to stay alive. But many of those Stalkers low on shields have taken damage, but also able to regenerate many of those shields as well. Immortal now coming into position. One Immortal may get taken down. It looks as though the Stalkers are going to pull back here. One Immortal has taken a beating so far, and now it gets taken down. Naniwa losing his Immortal. Not too great of a play there, and Naniwa for some reason not peeling away the rest of those Stalkers, now just engaging straight up, as Huck is in trouble. More Stalkers are warping in on the high ground. Stalkers are trying to run away, but the Stalkers are just blinking straight after Huck, and Huck is forced to say GG after losing a couple probes and then knowing that his warp gates were not going to be nearly as powerful. Naniwa moves on as Huck gets eliminated. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.